and tinatang.com. And this is the first of our Career Crush series. Today, we are interviewing or watching, or actually listening to Jessica Bates, who just started her own firm called Friendship Digital. She left a corporate job to do her own business, and she's a freelance digital strategist. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Tina. How are you?
Good. So tell me exactly what a freelance digital strategist does.
That's a great question. It's something that I think I'm learning a little bit more about every single day. For me, a freelance digital strategist means that I work on social media, blogging, emails, content strategy, everything from hands-on social media management to overarching strategy and themes and recommendations. I've helped with companies doing their digital media audit of their properties. I've also given one-on-one lessons on how to use Twitter. So it's a lot of different things.
Jessica, how old are you?
I am 37 years young.
And how long did you work for someone else before you decided to do your own company?
Oh, goodness. I've been working for someone else for as long as I can remember. So I guess since my early 20s.
And were you in social media or digital strategy prior?
I was. I most recently was the director of digital at a startup here in the Washington, D.C. area, which is where I live. And prior to that was in the communications department at the United Nations Foundation for about 2 years.
So why did you go into social media digital strategy?
In the first place, originally? Because I love Twitter and I love Facebook and I love people. Actually, it really comes down to that, people. And I was working at the American Lung Association National Headquarters, and I was in the health education department. And the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives was just my daily motivation. And I found that social media was a way to do that, an immediate way to make a difference in people's lives.
How do you feel? How is it different? I mean, I guess in some ways social media is similar to real life relationships. So what are some things that you think are different?
I think that that's different. Well, people are able to curate their lives on social media. People can be very choosy about what they share. There are people whose lives are their brand. There are beauty bloggers and mom bloggers who do their jobs very well, but they're also extremely selective about what they share with the rest of the world because they have a very particular look that they want to communicate.
So then of all the social media, do you think Snapchat feels more real than to you? And
oh, you're just getting down to the heart of things. You just want to talk about Snapchat. I think Snapchat absolutely has the potential to be the most real and the most immediate and raw and unfiltered version of people's lives. I mean, granted, there are plenty of people who put on men who put on a full face of makeup before they get on Snapchat. And I'm kind of in awe of that, especially as somebody who doesn't wear that much makeup anymore. But I think that most people are pretty immediate and very in the moment when they're on Snapchat, and that gets a real look at what's going on in their lives.
So of all the ones that because I know you're very active on all, do you have a favorite, or is there one that you feel most comfortable on?
Yeah, these days I've reignited my love affair with Twitter. I sort of got away from Twitter for a while. It was getting too corporate and too the immediacy and the real life connections that I thought I'd made there had faded away. But that's not the case anymore. I've gone back to Twitter because of that. I'd say Twitter and Snapchat are my favorites these days.
That's interesting you say that, Twitter. Can you, I've had people say, I just don't get Twitter. Like they might be on Facebook often.
Right.
If you were to tell a 4-year-old, I guess, try to explain why Twitter, what would you say?
Because it's short and it's sweet. I'm somebody who has attention deficit disorder, and I find it very difficult to read long blog posts. I mean, granted, the nature of a blog is that it tends not to be long, but I even find sometimes blog posts and longer Facebook posts way too hard for me. I shared a link with you the other day, the TLDR. Yes, I'm
I didn't even know what that
ladies and
was.
gentlemen, I am teaching Tina how to the internet slang. TLDR means too long didn't read. And when I found that word, I was like, this is my life. This is my life. As somebody who reads a lot and spends a lot of time on the internet, I still find things too long didn't read. So with Twitter, you really don't have the excuse. It's only 140 characters. And usually it has a picture too, which is nice and awesome and shiny. And if you want to read more, you can click on a link. But I think that the best thing about Twitter is that it's short and sweet, and brevity is the soul of wit. So it works out nicely.
Do you think one particular medium is harder to, I guess, build a network than the other?
It depends. I don't think there's a single answer to that. I think that it depends on why you're on that social platform. It depends on what you want to accomplish. If you are a brand and you have money to spend, then I don't think there's, and you know where your audience is, then I think that there are a lot of different platforms you can use, and you just need to have the time and the energy or hire someone who has the time and the energy to do it. If you are an individual and you want to make friends and influence people, I think that probably Twitter or Snapchat is a great place to start. Facebook tends to be increasingly, it's trying to be all things to all people. So, and as a result, I think a lot of people's stories and a lot of experiences get lost.
Mm-hmm. Do you, what do your friends think, I guess, of your job, whether it's before and in general? And do they ever ask you for advice using social media?
I would say, actually, since I've started working freelance, that I get a lot more advice from people. Requests for advice from people. I'm sure lots of people try to give me advice too, and I'm absolutely grateful for it. In fact, I'm part of a women's co-working community called Hera Hub, and I go and I ask for advice regularly. But I would say that more and more, as we're sort of going through a sharing, I think the economy is shifting towards a sharing economy, and there's a lot of more, gig work. And I'm using a lot of buzzwords, but it's true. We have a lot more people are going for freelance work, and I have a lot of people saying, that's awesome. How is it going? And can you help me do the same?
That was gonna be one of my questions. So being an entrepreneur, I guess it's hard to sometimes build your business. What are things that you're doing to build, clientele and to grow your business?
That is a great question, and it's something that I'm kind of asking myself on a regular basis. I've joined this co-working space. I am an ambassador at Hera Hub in Washington, D.C. We're in Friendship Heights. Come and visit. And I spend time there each week in exchange for getting used to the co-working space and access to their mentors. I've had some marvelous conversations with other members, everything from people who are marketing and comms professionals who say this is where you can find resources, to people who said, hey, let's work together. So those are things that I'm fleshing out. So far, though, I have to say DC is a pretty small town, and I have gotten not a lot of work. I have gotten bulk of my work through friends, people who either are marketing and communications professionals and had worked to subcontract to me, or people who are in a completely different field and say, I need this for my business. Can you do social media for me? And I do.
Got it.
I think it's all about networks, either friendship and the old-fashioned way of going out and meeting people, or social media networks. There are plenty of people who I've tweeted with and have not met in real life who want to collaborate with me. I'm super excited about. It's just all about face-to-face. It's all about person-to-person connection.
What was it from when you're working for someone else? Can you describe the decision or path where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go on my own.
So I wish I had something glamorous and interesting to say about that. I wish I had a great story. Unfortunately, it was that the startup I was working for failed, and I was unemployed. And my former supervisor said, you know what, here are some clients, you should take them with you. And I was like, well, I don't really know what this means. And I tried to suss that out and tried to hunt for jobs, and that was last summer, and didn't really work so well, in that I was unhappy, miserable. I wasn't really devoting my time and energy entirely to one thing or the other, either the job hunt or the freelance work. And then I had a contract over the fall with an agency, which I ended after 3 months, and at that point decided, okay, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. So whatever I was doing was not working, and I didn't want that anymore. So I started really looking into freelance opportunities and spending all my time on that and not focusing really on getting a full-time job again.
Yeah. I don't think that's unglamorous. You know how sometimes if you're used to a certain way, it almost takes like a situation to push you into this.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, absolutely. And I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. So, that time had to end, and I'm on to the next thing.
If this question could be appropriate, because it feels like what you do is very you. Can you describe in words how the job that you've chosen or this career path is like your life, it's natural for you, or it's your passion or life purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. I've spent a lot of time working in the nonprofit sector, as I mentioned, American Lung Association, United Nations Foundation. I was the digital lead for Giving Tuesday in 2013 and also 2014, first half of the year. And these experiences are ones that speak very much to my sense of being part of something bigger than myself, and working to make a positive difference in the world. And so for me, the work that I do needs to be meaningful. I need to be communicating in such a way that I'm helping others out. And yeah, and I'm a people person. What can I say? I've been making friends on the internet. That sounds so sketchy.
You have, because that's how we met.
Through your blog. You had a contest on your blog. I still have that necklace. I should have worn it today. For me, it's just sort of a natural extension of who I am. I like making new friends. I like helping people, and social media is the way that these things come together for me.
Excellent. I think how we're going to end our interview is, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
I want you to give me in your own way, not a professional way, just like a conversational pitch about what makes you really good at what you do, and in case someone's looking for social media help, why they might contact you.
Okay. What makes me good at what I do is the fact that I am genuine and I'm dedicated, and I care enormously about, I don't take any project that I don't care about. So for me, my work is about more than money, and it's about more than dedicating X hours in a day to something. I have to really, it has to have a resonance with me. So someone who wants to hire me, whether we're talking about a small nonprofit or a large foundation or a small business or a large corporation, whatever it is, I will bring dedication and heart to the work that I do.
And being someone on the other side observing all the things that you do, I can totally attest to that. I think another thing about you, which I find is different than some other people that I've followed who work in social media, is how you are in your social media. You live what you do. So you don't tell people I do social media, blah, 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 and then your pages are, your feeds are quiet. You're very active. So it's easy to see that you know what you're doing because you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah. So thank you. I like to think that. And I find that all the things that I advise clients to do, engaging with your brand or engaging with your audience as your brand, taking the time to share pictures, to be real. Those are things that I do. I ask questions. I have conversation. I involve people. Not only do I share the things that I believe in and talk about the things that I, want other people to know, and the ways that I, even if, on my own page, wanting to make a difference. I'm just thinking about my Facebook, for example. And, as somebody who lives in Washington, D.C. and born and raised, I'm very, very involved with politics. And it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. And as a result, I end up sharing a lot of, and I know a lot of people, like our friend Chris Barrows, hates this political stuff, and a lot of our friends will just don't want to engage with it, but that's okay. For me, I think it's part of who I am, and what I do is, I ask questions and I share, for example, I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and when he had to leave, Bernie, and when he left the race, I said, okay, well, here's why I'm going to start supporting Hillary Clinton, and this is why it means to me. But I wanted to ask questions, and I wanted to understand what the world around me was doing. I want to understand what other people are doing, and I want to help educate people. If somebody has a question and says, I don't know how to find out information on this, I mean, that's increasingly less the case because of Google, but if somebody wants to know how I stand on something, or if I know someone who can give them information, I want them to be able to ask. And similarly, I want my brands that I represent and people that I work with to be sources of help and information as well.
Excellent. I think we're going to end this interview by you telling us your website or whatever means of contact.
I'm wearing my social media necklace. I don't know if we can see it. It's www.jesserker.com. It's my Twitter handle, @Jesserker, Jesserker. Can also be pronounced Jesserker. I will also respond to "Hey you" if necessary. But
thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank you, Tina.
And everyone can watch this and read this on tinatang.com/blog, and we'll have a transcript below.
Fantastic.